The moment Dr. Raina Merrick clicked submit on the Ancestry DNA test, she felt something wrong. Not fear, just a quiet, sick knowing. Like somewhere, in some dark room, an old door had creaked open, and something was walking through it. Dr. Raina Merrick, a respected forensic psychology professor in Detroit, takes a routine DNA test to amuse her graduate students only to have it link her to a decades-old string of murders committed by a never-caught killer. When bodies begin to surface again with the same calling card, she realizes this isn't about science. It's about her blood, and the truth she was never meant to remember. Before we expose the secrets buried in this case, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because in this world of lies, betrayal, and missing files, one click might be your only way to the truth. Now, let's begin. Detroit, Michigan. Late September. The air smelled like rust, with a whisper of rain. The echo of her heels on the lecture hall floor was sharper than usual. Dr. Raina Merrick clicked her pen twice before setting it down, watching the sea of tired eyes and blinking laptops before her. Behavioral profiling is part science, part story, she said, circling her desk like she was hunting the next thought. People tell you who they are in layers: speech, movement, trauma patterns. You just have to read the sequence. A hand shot up in the front row, Jalen, her most obnoxiously confident student. Dr. Merrick, quick question. Since we're deep diving into serial typologies, did you ever consider, testing your own DNA? You know, see what dark alleles are hiding in your family tree? The class laughed. Raina smiled thinly. I didn't know narcissism was hereditary in undergrads. More laughter. She waved it off. But sure, Jalen, I'll bite. I'll do the test. And if I come back descended from Jack the Ripper, I expect extra credit. And so she did. 2 weeks later, her phone buzzed during her morning coffee. Your DNA results are in. She hesitated. She didn't know why. She had no criminal record. Her adoptive parents were both deceased. She'd grown up in a good, if distant, home on Detroit's west side. Her childhood was filled with books, ballet, and that one eerie recurring dream about a red door in the middle of the woods. She clicked the link. Ethnicity estimate, no surprises. But then, immediate family match, 99.98%. Potential parent identified. Raina froze. She stared at the name, Morris L. Granger. Her breath caught in her throat. That name, it didn't ring bells. It sounded like static. She tapped on the profile. No photo. Just a birth year 1961 and a last known address in Flint. She heard herself whisper aloud, but I was adopted from Georgia, ... She closed the tab. That night, she dreamt of the red door again. Only this time, it opened, and behind it was a man. He was sitting in a small, sterile room, calmly sharpening a hunting knife. And he looked directly at her and smiled. Next morning, 6:45, amai. She was brushing her teeth when her phone buzzed again. Breaking. Body found in abandoned motel on 8 Mile. Markings match Chessboard Killer cold case. She dropped her toothbrush. Dr. Raina Merrick had just connected her DNA to a man who never got caught. And now, after 28 years, the Chessboard Killer was killing again. And something in her chest whispered, this isn't the first time you've seen him. Detroit, 1 day later, the rain hadn't stopped. It whispered like secrets against her windshield. Dr. Raina Merrick sat outside the Wayne County Police Department, staring at the building's entrance through a veil of gray. The wipers groaned with each swipe, slow and tired like her thoughts. She shouldn't be here. She didn't know anything. She wasn't a suspect. She wasn't even family. Not really. And yet, she had printed out the DNA match the night before, folded it into a manila folder, and held it like it was radioactive. Morris L. Granger, or 1961, Last known address, Flint, MA. Parental match, 99.98%. She hadn't slept. Her inbox this morning was a flood of forwarded headlines. Students texting. Colleagues speculating. Chessboard Killer returns? 28 years later. Copycat or the real monster? The forensic details hadn't been released publicly, but Raina recognized the signature when she read the leaked article on Reddit. Victim bound at the wrists. A single night chess piece placed in the mouth. The same M.O. as the unsolved murders from 1996 just across state lines. Back then, she was only 9 years old. Back then, she was already adopted. Back then, they said the killer was a ghost. Inside the station, Raina waited in silence while a young black detective skimmed her folder. Detective Miles Booker, early 30s, crisp beard, Howard Law hoodie beneath his jacket. Sharp eyes, but he wasn't rushing. He kept glancing up, reading her. "You a psychologist, right?" he asked finally. "Forensic," she corrected. He gave a dry smile. "Figures. You walked in here like you already studied my body language and trauma profile." "I just didn't want to email this," she said, sliding the folder closer. "And I didn't want to wait until there was another body." Booker opened the file again. "This DNA match. You're saying you're biologically related to Morris Granger? That's what the database shows. I wasn't trying to find him. It was an academic joke. But it flagged a match I never expected." Booker leaned back in his chair. "You know what he was accused of?" "Only from internet sleuths," Raina replied carefully. "No official charges, no arrest, just a nickname and a pattern." Booker nodded slowly. "The Chessboard Killer murders were cold by the time I graduated high school, but the details match. Same staging, same calling card. He stopped in 96, just vanished." Raina took a breath. "You think he died?" "No," he said flatly. "I think he went underground. And now maybe ... something pulled him back out." A silence sat between them. "Listen," he said, softening. "If you're really connected to him by blood, we're going to need more than a walk-in and a printout. We'll need to reopen some files, get state approval, maybe even talk to the feds." "I don't want protection," she said. He blinked. "What?" "I don't want to hide. I want to help. If he's active again, if there's even a chance my memory holds something buried, I want in." Booker studied her, long and still. "You got a death wish, Doc?" "No," she replied. "I have a debt to pay." That night, Raina returned home to find her apartment door slightly ajar. She froze. Nothing was broken. No sign of a forced entry. But the chain had been unhooked from the inside. Her chest tightened. She stepped in slowly, heels echoing across hardwood. Silence. Then, she saw it on her kitchen counter. A folded sheet of paper beneath her coffee mug. She picked it up with trembling fingers. Just one line, handwritten in shaky ink. "Do you remember the red door?" Her knees nearly gave. She stumbled back, heart punching her ribs, the dream burning back into her skull. The red door in the forest. The man with the knife. The blood on the floor. She was still holding the note when her phone buzzed. Blocked number. She answered without speaking. A whisper. "He's not done." "And neither are you." Click. Silence. Across town, in a rotting storage unit behind an abandoned car wash, someone peeled open a vinyl chessboard case. Inside were 27 pieces. A knight was missing, and there was space carved for one more. Detroit, 2 days later. The city was quiet in that early hour between traffic and sunrise, when even sirens seemed to sleep. Dr. Raina Merrick sat in her office with the blinds closed and her coat still on. A steaming paper cup of coffee sat untouched beside her. She was rewatching the same grainy surveillance video for the 6th time. A gas station near Gratiot Avenue. Time-stamped 317I. A man in a hooded coat walked across frame. He paused, turned, stared directly at the camera for 6 full seconds. Ben smiled. Raina paused the footage again. Her finger trembled over the spacebar. She didn't know this man. She shouldn't know this man, but her body did. Her pulse reacted like it had met a ghost it hadn't buried properly. The eyes. They were hers. Detective Booker's voice came through her speakerphone. "You're sure you've never seen this man in person?" "I'm sure I don't remember seeing him in person," she said. "Same guy from the motel footage. Matches the build and the walk. No prints left, of course. But he knows how to face the camera without blinking, like he's daring us." "Did you trace the note?" "Paper's generic. Ink standard gel pen. No prints, but there's something you should know." A pause. Then, "Your adoption records were sealed under a court order. Not just private. Buried." Raina stiffened. "What kind of court order?" "Federal. U.S. Marshal classification. Witness relocation level." She stopped breathing. Booker's voice softened. "Doc, whoever you are, whatever you came from, it wasn't random. Someone made sure nobody could find you." Later that day, she visited her old ballet teacher, Ms. Darla, who still ran the studio in Rosedale Park. The same cracked mirror, the same smell of rosin and lavender. Miss Darla was in her 70s, now small, warm, and sharper than anyone realized. "You were 8 when they brought you to me," she said, handing Raina a folded paper towel with lemon cake in it. "Didn't talk for weeks, just danced, every morning. Same song, over and over." Raina blinked. "Do you remember what song?" Miss Darla looked at her gently. "I remember what you said the first time you spoke." "What?" "You said, 'He's not real if I don't talk about him.'" Raina froze. Miss Darla nodded. "I thought it was imaginary back then. A coping thing. Now I wonder." She reached into a drawer and pulled out a cassette tape. "I kept this. Your first solo recital. You chose the music yourself." Raina slipped it into her coat pocket. That night, back home, she found the old cassette player her mother used to keep in a sewing drawer. She played the tape. Static, then faint piano. A haunting waltz. Offbeat. Almost lullaby-like, but with a discordant second melody layered beneath. She sat on the floor, knees to chest, watching the shadows move on her walls. Then, halfway through the tape, a whisper cut through the music. Soft, male, almost humming. "Left foot." Then twirl, baby girl. Her breath caught. It was a voice she hadn't heard in almost 30 years. But her body remembered it like a trigger. She hit pause. The tape wheezed to a stop. She didn't sleep. The next morning, someone spray-painted her office door in red. "You found me." Campus police cordoned it off. But Booker arrived before they could clean it. "You need to come with me," he said. No humor left. "To the station?" "No," he said. "To a warehouse off Linwood. We dug through archives. Found something sealed. Something the feds never followed up on. The warehouse was cold, quiet, dusty." They led her into a long corridor of locked storage vaults. Inside Vault 7, 2 rusted filing cabinets. Booker handed her gloves. "This one's yours." She opened it slowly. Inside were folders marked. Merrick, R. Incident 1989. Witness A 112 Guardian ID W43. Chessboard evidence. Georgia transfer. Raina's fingers trembled. She opened the first one. And there, a photo paper clipped to the top. A man, hooded, face half-shadowed, holding a child with a red ribbon in her hair. She knew that ribbon. She had the scar from it on her scalp. The man was labeled. Morris L. Granger, suspect. Presumed deceased status, unconfirmed. Her vision swam. Her knees weakened. Booker steadied her, but she barely noticed. Because beneath the photo was a court sketch, not of a crime scene, but of a room. A child's room, no windows, no toys, only a red door. She whispered, almost to herself, "I didn't dream it." 2 weeks later, Federal Safe House, Flint, Michigan. The trees outside were bare. Their crooked limbs scratched the windows like they wanted in. Raina stood still in the narrow hallway, heart tight in her chest, staring at the metal door at the end. It had no number, just a sliding peephole and 2 armed agents flanking it. Detective Brooker had warned her, "There's no turning back once you see him." She had nodded without speaking, because deep down, she knew she'd already seen him. In dreams, in flashbacks, in the mirror. The DNA test was the spark. But this moment was the fire. The agent opened the door, and there he was, Morris L. Granger, age 64. Eyes, same color as hers. Posture, straight. Smell, bleach, tobacco, time. He sat in a metal chair, hands cuffed, ankles chained, yet somehow relaxed. Like this was a dinner table. The room had no windows, only fluorescent light buzzing like angry bees. He looked up, smiled. "Hello, baby girl." Raina didn't sit. She stared at him, jaw clenched. "You're supposed to be dead." Morris shrugged. "They tried. Shot me once. Burned the place. Thought they buried me with it. But the state don't check too deep when you don't exist." "You killed those people," she said. "You staged them like chess pieces." He chuckled low. "No, I corrected those people. The world is a game. Rules, players. I just moved the pawns." She trembled, but didn't show it. "You took me," she said, "from my real family. Locked me in that room. The red door." He smiled wider. "You remember?" "I remember everything now. The music, the tape, the voices. The screaming." Morris tilted his head. "They told me you forgot." "I did, until you started killing again." He leaned forward. "That wasn't me." Silence. Raina blinked. "What?" "I haven't touched blood in 28 years. Not since they took you away. But someone's trying to bring me back into the light. And it ain't for justice." She stared at him. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no, no." "Who do you think mailed that DNA kit to your campus mailbox?" he said. "You didn't buy it. You never ordered it." Her stomach dropped. Someone wanted her to find him. Someone designed this chain of events. She staggered back. "Why?" Morris's expression changed, softened, almost fatherly. "Because you were always the real prodigy, baby girl. I taught you without you knowing. Left fingerprints in your head. You remember that recital?" "No." He grinned. "You danced to Chopin. I used to play it while working. It calmed you? The rhythm trained your mind." She shook her head violently. "You're not in me." "Oh, but I am," he whispered. That night, Raina sat in a dark motel room just outside Flint, numb and motionless. Her phone buzzed. Blocked number. She answered. Silence, then. "Did he tell you the truth? Are you ready now?" She hung up, heart racing. 3 days later, federal prison transport. Morris Granger was being moved under sealed conditions. 2 marshals. Bulletproof SUV. Midnight. It never arrived. The vehicle was found burnt and empty in an alley behind a scrapyard. No bodies, no tracks, no security footage. Gone. 2 months later, Philadelphia, PA. At a downtown university, a guest lecture in criminal psychology drew a full crowd. The speaker, Dr. R. Monroe, calm, elegant, precise. Subject, the mind of the pattern killer. Her slides were chilling. Case files dissected like surgery. The final one displayed the original crime scene photo of the chessboard killer. Audience silence, then applause. Dr. Monroe smiled politely. Ended her lecture, packed her bag. Outside, the rain had started again. She passed an alley where a homeless man sat curled by a wall. She paused, bent down, placed a wrapped sandwich beside him. He looked up, trembling. "Thank you," he whispered. Dr. Monroe looked him in the eye. "Left foot, then twirl." She walked away. Epilogue. The chessboard killer was never officially found, but the killing stopped. And somewhere beneath a new name, behind polished glasses and a lecture podium, the daughter of a ghost learned to shape the game herself. Some stories don't end with a verdict. They echo in quiet rooms, in broken trust, in lives forever altered. This wasn't just a case file. It was a warning about what happens when fear replaces facts, when systems protect themselves, and when good people look away because it's easier. What happened here could happen anywhere, because injustice doesn't need a reason, just an opening. So if this story reached you, don't let it vanish.